COVID vaccine cards and giving saline shots to kids at their parents' request so they'd think they got the real thing. Outside the courthouse, a small group of protesters held signs supporting Moore, calling him a hero, not a criminal. But federal prosecutors say what he did put lives at risk, especially vulnerable children, and damaged public trust in healthcare. Live from Salt Lake's federal courthouse, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
5 Salt Lake police officers' certifications are suspended after they reportedly falsified their time cards back in 2022. The Salt Lake City Police Department says they've taken administrative action to improve accountability related to timekeeping and attendance since that time. While updates have been made, they say the department's new administration is still learning about the case and is working to identify how to implement new accountability and oversight. Officials in Texas say search and rescue efforts are still underway 3 days after flash flooding devastated communities along the Guadalupe River. At least 87 people are confirmed dead, including 27 campers and a counselor, and dozens of people are still missing. Senator Ted Cruz said he spoke with President Trump in the early hours of the disaster.
Within hours, we had helicopters, over a dozen helicopters in the air, National Guard, DPS, game wardens, Coast Guard.
Cruz says the president told him that they will provide Texas with whatever assets or resources it needs. Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump is expected to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House tonight. It comes as Israel and Hamas negotiate a possible ceasefire.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Trump's envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, are meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu today ahead of the Israeli Prime Minister's dinner with the president tonight here at the White House. The meetings come as President Trump says he thinks negotiators are close to a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
I think there's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the coming week, pertaining to quite a few of the hostages. Yeah.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Tens of thousands of immigrants from Central America, some of whom have been legally in the U.S. for more than 2 decades, are being told they'll soon have to leave.
The moves wind down protections enjoyed by Nicaraguans and Hondurans in the U.S. since Bill Clinton's presidency. The Homeland Security Department says that temporary protected status put in place after a 1998 hurricane was never meant to last a quarter century. It means nationals of those 2 countries who've been allowed to stay in the U.S. since then will now have to leave. The government is offering a free plane ticket and a $1,000 exit bonus to those who register their intent to self-deport.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy reporting. Utah's population is still growing by the day, and new data shows the Latino community is a big reason why.
Utah added a little more than 60,000 new residents between 2023 and 2024, and nearly half of those people are Hispanic or Latino, according to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau. Though one important thing to note,
it's not necessarily all people moving in. It could be residents here having kids.
Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute Director of Demographic Research Mallory Bateman tells me the Hispanic community has been helping drive our state's growth for years.
The Hispanic or Latino population is our second largest racial or ethnic group. It's over 500,000 residents. And, coming from a bunch of different backgrounds. So, they're definitely a big factor in our overall population change.
The new data shows Latinos now make up just under a fifth of Utah's total population. KSL.com found Latinos made up more than half the growth in Davis, Weber, and Wasatch counties, and more than 3/4 of the growth in Salt Lake County from 2023 to 2024. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A southern Utah man has been arrested after police say he crashed his UTV while driving impaired, killing the 7-year-old girl riding with him. Police documents say 32-year-old Armando Becerra was driving the girl around when he lost control and rolled. She was taken to a local fire station for her head trauma but was pronounced dead. Becerra was booked into the Kane County Jail on suspicion of automobile homicide, DUI, and reckless driving. The Alpine School District is set to sell more than $200 million in bonds to help fund new schools on the west side of Utah Lake. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson reports.
The bonds will be used to build a new high school in Saratoga Springs and an elementary school in Eagle Mountain.
Early on, Alpine School District will be paying some of the debt amount, but the largest portion is going to be repaid by the new school district out west.
Alpine School District Communications Director Rich Stowell says they used Alpine's credit history to get lower rates for the new district.
There's been a lot of growth out in that area, and so they do need schools desperately.
Stowell says the new district will take over the bonds after forming in 2027. He says the bonds will go up for sale on Thursday. Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio.
Utah Jazz have traded John Collins to the Los Angeles Clippers in a 3-team trade. ESPN reports the Jazz will get Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson from the Miami Heat and a 2027 Clippers second-round pick. We'll get more details and perspective on the trade when we talk to KSL Sports Jazz insider Ben Anderson at 12:15. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. It is a crash-free start on the major roadways to our Monday noontime drive, but not slow, but not a delay-free start. We do have slowdowns southbound I-15 going through the work zone near Burton Lane between Kaysville and Farmington. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:06.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story this hour, jury selection is now underway in the case of a Utah doctor accused of giving out fake COVID-19 vaccines and falsifying documents. KSL News Time, 12:08. 2 Salt Lake police officers were involved in car accidents this weekend. They are both expected to recover from their injuries. One of them was injured after a car reportedly ran a red light and hit them. Meanwhile, Salt Lake City Police Chief Brian Redd is making some changes to his leadership team. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff has details.
2 deputy chiefs and the department's communication director will be, quote, departing their roles in the department, unquote. Chief Redd is bringing on 3 new deputy chiefs in Victor Seibenek, Andrew Wright, and Bill Manzareas. Glenn Mills is being brought on as the new chief of staff and communications director. Chief Redd says these individuals bring exceptional leadership, experience, and a fresh perspective to the department, and he's confident their contributions will strengthen the department's ability to serve and support both their personnel and the community.
Several of the deputy chiefs will begin their duties toward the end of the month, while some will begin immediately. The Joab County Sheriff's Office said on Facebook that they're having a hard time retaining deputies because they can't keep up with the cost of living. And they're not the only ones struggling with retention. Last month, Cache County Sheriff Chad Jensen told his county council the same thing.
On the exit interviews and talking to them why some of the reasons they're leaving, some of them are getting up to a $7 an hour increase in their pay.
The Joab County Sheriff's Office says they currently have several openings and a few other deputies are looking to leave as well, which could have an impact on safety and response times. Utah State University is partnering with a nonprofit to provide housing for student veterans. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
In August, student veterans can apply to live in a home with other vets. USU's Veteran Resource Office says they're working with the nonprofit Project Valor to start small with just one home for now, but they plan to expand the housing options in the future. Including in the housing is a plan to keep a bed open for any homeless student veterans. The office says sharing living spaces with other veterans is very important in helping these students. Veterans are used to doing everything with other people, so going straight back into civilian life can be lonely. Another veteran in their space might be the battle buddy they need.
Project Valor will be hosting a 5K run in October to help sponsor the project, and if they are successful, they hope to have more housing available in the future. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion, and here's Ricky Meese.
Quiet on the roads. If you're traveling any of the Salt Lake County freeways, you're going to see light traffic, good speeds. We do have busy traffic that's a little slow going through the construction zone, southbound I-15 near Burton Lane as you go between the Kaysville Ponds down to Lagoon and Farmington. But that's it. No other problems reported at this time on your major roadways. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yesterday's high was 91. Today we're going to go 96 and sunny skies. Overnight, 70 degrees. Breezy tomorrow afternoon with sunshine and a high of 98. We're up to 99 on Wednesday, partly cloudy and rather breezy out of the south. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City, 86 degrees. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. A big trade for the Utah Jazz, losing John Collins, but gaining Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson in a three-team swap. We'll get more insight from KSL Sports Jazz insider Ben Anderson. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Well, if this is your summer to get fit and look your best, I want to tell you about a program that I have been following, and it's called Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I have lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. One of the best things about it is I lost the frustration with my inability to lose weight. I was able to lose the weight very quickly, which made me stick with the program. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Salt Lake City Fat Loss is an all-natural program. There are no injections or surgeries. It's just a simple combination of foods to burn off your stored fat. That means that you learn to eat more healthy, and you don't have to worry about any sort of side effects. Plus, it's easy to follow with great resources to help keep you accountable. They have a great app that gives you daily inspiration. It gives you recipes and a great program in maintenance as well. That's where I am right now, is in the maintenance program. And right now you can save $200 off. You can learn more at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. Wouldn't it be great to lose up to a pound per day? Go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Hey there, it's Julie from Logan, where we know how to celebrate summer. First, something super cool when it's really hot. Logan has a new plaza downtown with music and games and a splash pad for kids. Well, I said kids, but hey, we don't judge. Jump in. Free Alive After 5 concerts and movies at the plaza Wednesday and Friday nights. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. Keep it cool by checking out live tribute concerts like the Monkees, Elton John's The Rocket Man Show, and the Neil Diamond Experience. If theater is more your style, see the musical Bright Star, Broadway's The Prince of Egypt, or the classic comedy The Importance of Being Earnest. After all, Logan is Utah's heart of the arts. Fresh mountain air is only 10 minutes from your hotel. Enjoy cooler temperatures in the canyon while you hike, mountain bike, picnic, fish, or sing yodelay-hee-hoo at the top of your lungs. Everything's cooler in Logan, and we've got a lot going on. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. explorelogan.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
jury selection began today in the federal trial of Dr. Michael Kirk Moore, accused of faking COVID-19 vaccines and giving children saline shots as supporters rallied outside the Salt Lake City courthouse. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, a 7-year-old girl is dead and a man has been arrested after police suspect he was driving drunk when he crashed a UTV. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Expect those Davis County construction delays again today, southbound I-15, as you go from the Kaysville Ponds towards the Highway 89 merge in Farmington. These are mostly concentrated by Burton Lane, and it's all due to road work. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll make a push for 100 degrees this week, then a cool down. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 86 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Texas, 3 days after catastrophic flash flooding, crews are continuing their search for dozens still missing. Officials say at least 90 people are now confirmed dead across 5 counties inundated along the Guadalupe River. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is in hard-hit Kerrville.
Search and rescue crews have been working around the clock. They've been tagging every location that they've been to, but the debris field is huge. And at this home, someone is literally shoveling mud out of their house. And he was telling me it has never flooded this high before. He said it went halfway up to the second story.
Questions remain about alert warning systems. ABC News has confirmed staffing at the National Weather Service in the Austin, San Antonio office was ramped up to surge staffing ahead of the severe weather event, with 5 meteorologists working instead of the normal 2 in the office. In North Carolina, rescues also continuing after remnants of Chantal triggered flash flooding this weekend. At least one person died, police say, after the woman's car was swept away by floodwaters. ABC's Tamara Scott is in the flood zone.
This is going to take a long time to clean up. Some of the businesses that we spoke with say that they've started the cleanup. They're trying to get an insurance adjuster out here to see how much of a loss this will be for them. But this is just incredible and something that they've experienced before, but they tell me this is definitely the worst.
President Trump has signed off on disaster aid relief. The Trump administration pushing the reciprocal tariff deadline this week to August 1st. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at today's briefing says the president is also sending letters to countries to finalize those deals.
The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st.
President Trump, in a social media post, says he will impose a 25% tax on goods from Japan and South Korea by August 1st. That sent stocks plunging on Wall Street following the July 4th holiday. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth, the big 3-team swap for the Utah Jazz. They've reportedly traded John Collins to the Los Angeles Clippers, and in turn, they've obtained Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson from the Miami Heat, as well as a 2027 Clippers second-round pick. Joining me now live is KSL Sports Jazz insider Ben Anderson. Ben, thanks for being with me.
My pleasure.
So tell us how these 3-team swaps come about. I mean, what happened here?
Yeah, this had to come together pretty quickly because as of last week, there didn't seem to be much of a market for John Collins, but free agency comes and goes, and then the secondary market opens up, and the Jazz are looking to get younger and open up playing time for their new players on the roster. And John Collins is entering the last year of his contract and probably wants to win more than the Jazz are going to be able to offer.
So what is your reaction to the trade? Is this a good move?
It's not great value in return for Collins, who had one of the better years of his career last season, but the goal for the Jazz is to play their young players and still lose games next season so they can get another high draft pick. And by moving Collins, they can do that more authentically without just having to rest players or sit players in the middle of games when they're healthy otherwise.
I kind of flinch when I hear you say lose more games, Ben. Ben,
I don't
do
know
we
if
still have to lose more games?
They probably won't lose as many as they lost last season. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the 25 win range. But again, that's still 15, 16 games short of making the playoffs. So it's going to be another long year, but I don't think it will be as, inauthentic with the types of losses the Jazz had last season, resting players, benching players, faking injuries to make sure they can't win.
And this will make them better in the future?
Ideally, that's always the goal, but that's going to depend on the development of their young players.
All right, Ben, thanks for being with me.
My pleasure.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is KSL Sports Jazz insider Ben Anderson. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion, and here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on your Salt Lake County freeways. If you're on I-15 in Davis County, Northbound looks great, and that's from downtown all the way to Willard Bay. But southbound, we do have a patch of slowing due to the road work as you go between the Kaysville, Ponds, and Farmington. All clear on I-15 in Utah County. Our main secondaries also seeing a quiet drive at this time. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife. And excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. It's going to have to get hot before it can get cool again. I got 96 today, sunny skies. High pressure will build into the west tomorrow. Sunshine 98, but breezy. Even more wind on Wednesday, partly cloudy 99, high fire danger. Mostly sunny and cooler on Thursday, 90 degrees, but still breezy. 91, sunshine on Friday. We keep those blue skies with highs in the mid and upper 90s Saturday and Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 87 degrees downtown. 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Well, as the temperature goes up, the stock market has been going down. Stock market rattled over new talks of tariffs. We'll go in depth on your money news coming up next.
Five guys walk into a JCW's and order burgers. A pastrami, a mushroom Swiss, a guacamole bacon, a hickory barbecue, a ribeye steak, 2 onion rings, 3 french fries, a strawberry, mint, peanut butter, chocolate, and marshmallow shake, and not one left a tip. Because at JCW's, we don't ask for it. We think the price you see should be the price you pay. And all that, would you like to leave a tip stuff, is for the birds. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it. Open in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KSL News Time 1224. A number of prominent medical organizations are suing Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
The lawsuit accuses the health secretary of illegally dismantling the advisory board to the Centers for Disease Control and replacing those he fired with people who hold anti-vaccine viewpoints. Plaintiffs include the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Infectious Diseases Society of America, and the American Public Health Association, as well as 2 pregnant women, all of whom are asking for Secretary Kennedy's rollback of COVID vaccine recommendations to be undone. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
The health secretary has not yet commented on the suit. Watching Utah's money, prices are falling for the popular obesity treatments Wegovy and Zepbound, but steady access to the drugs remains challenging. Reduced monthly costs for uninsured patients still amounts to around $500, but there's hope that these prices for the injectable drugs may fall more in the future, especially once pill versions enter the market. The co-founder of Twitter is launching a new messaging app to rival WhatsApp. Jack Dorsey announced BitChat, an app that works completely over Bluetooth, so no internet, phone numbers, or emails are necessary. Costco is recalling nearly a dozen items from multiple manufacturers. USA Today reports the recalls include items like power banks, window air conditioners, and tires, with some companies urging customers to stop using their products immediately. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow now down by 604 points. That's more than 1.25%, sitting at 44,224. S&P is down by 70 points. The NASDAQ down by a full percent as well, down 245 points. Pearl Jam is saying goodbye to a legend, at least for now. Matt Cameron is leaving the band after nearly 3 decades. He posted the news on Instagram, calling it a journey filled with friendships, artistry, challenges, and laughter. Cameron joined the band in 1998. He was a key figure in grunge music. He also played with Soundgarden.
Amanda, we love talking about Utah Community Credit Union, and guess what? They just got news that they saved their members over $40 million in 2024 alone.
And UCCU is opening 4 new branches in the Salt Lake Valley, which means 6 total now. They have 21st South, Taylorsville, Sandy, Magna, Harriman, and Draper.
And to celebrate these new branches, UCCU is offering some amazing opportunities. First of all, $150 cash just for setting up direct deposit with your UCCU account.
They'll give you up to $250 cash just for transferring any existing loan from another institution to UCCU.
And here's the big one, giving away 10 amazing prizes, including, get this, a brand new 2025 Jeep Wrangler.
So you heard that right. A brand new Jeep Wrangler could be yours, and no purchase is necessary. You don't even have to be a member.
Anyone can enter. It's easy. All you've got to do is go to uccu.com and sign up. So enter to win today.
UCCU.com. Find out more about Utah Community Credit Union, where you're going to love where you bank.
How does a soccer club born in an unlikely place?
Utah? You sure you want to do that in Utah?
Built with players no one else wanted.
We knew no one believed in us.
Reach the league's highest heights.
We finally did it. It was like just this feeling of getting to the top of the mountain.
Russell has made a champion out of Real Salt Lake.
How does that same team find a way to shatter expectations in the midst of a fight for its own survival?
Our club is burning to the ground as we speak.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and in a new podcast, Making of a Moment, the RSL story, we take a closer look at one of those iconic sports moments.
Soccer is a crazy game, and we saw it firsthand tonight.
And unravel how knowing the truth of these moments can transform what they mean.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now. Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. What's going on, Ricky?
A new problem in Utah County, a crash. It's on the off-ramp or on-ramp to southbound I-15 at Center Street, Provo. Right now, we do have a left lane blocked, and officers are there. They're trying to scoot everybody over into that right lane. So if you're going to be traveling through that area, just be aware that ramp is going to have a lane blocked. But the main flow of I-15 looking good both directions. And that's in Salt Lake and Utah counties. A little slow southbound I-15 due to road work going from Kaysville to Farmington. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Neese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Here we go with the sunshine and hot temperatures today. Look for a high of 96 with sunny skies. Overnight, 70 degrees. Tomorrow we'll pick up an afternoon breeze, 98 sunshine. Partly cloudy and windy on your Wednesday, high of 99. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Salt Lake, sunny and 88 degrees. St. George at this hour, not much hotter, 92 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. The death toll from Friday's flash flood in central Texas is approaching 90, including more than 24 children. ABC Jim Ryan begins our team coverage from the hard-hit town of Kerrville.
Questions have arisen about warnings that may or may not have been issued to operators of the many summer camps along the Guadalupe River. Senator Ted Cruz says it's a good question, but
I think it is reasonable over time to engage in a retrospective and say at every level what could have been done better, because all of us would want to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Meanwhile, more than 400 first responders continue the search for victims. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Kerrville, Texas.
Many believe that messages, alerts, or other warnings from meteorologists could have been the difference between life and death in the flash flooding. Our team coverage continues with KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank tells Inside Sources it's not always that simple when sending emergency weather alerts. The timing has to be right, and sometimes the gravity of the situation isn't known until later. But regardless, they can help save lives, and more people than ever are getting those emergency alerts.
Now, with new technology, even we're getting satellite-delivered messages and other things. And I would guess that with time, that satellite delivery will become very, very critical for rural areas or areas of no cell phone coverage.
Eubank says there are still challenges with these alerts. Some people turn them off because they can be annoying, and some people are too far away from a cell phone tower. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The flash flood tragedy in Texas is bringing back reminders of a deadly flash flood here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson continues our team coverage.
20 people were killed in the Hilldale flash flood in September of 2015. National Weather Service hydrologist Glenn Merrill says southern Utah's landscape makes the area especially prone to flash flooding.
Into the transition zone from those red rock areas and into the bordering mountain areas where you can get large watersheds funneling into normally dry washes or slot canyon areas.
And this can be a recipe for disaster because so many people camp and recreate in southern Utah. Merrill suggests people always be weather aware before going out. He says the forecast looks clear until the middle of July, where there could be some rain and flash flood potential. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
We will continue to go in depth on the Texas flooding on Midday, coming up at 1 o'clock. Crews say they have recovered the body of a man that they believe drowned at Huntington State Park this weekend. Emory County Sheriff's Office says they were called around 4 yesterday to help look for a possible drowning victim. They did not say how old the victim is or offer details about what led up to the drowning. A Harriman business is now destroyed after a gas leak led to an explosion at a strip mall on Saturday night. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Police are saying this all started when an SUV, which was part of a 3-car crash, plowed into the strip mall at 134th South and 5200 West. And when it did, it ruptured a gas line and sparked a massive fire. Then minutes later, part of the building was engulfed in a massive fireball. Remarkably, though, nobody was killed. Employees inside the building evacuated, and the people inside that car were helped out just in time.
3 people were taken to the hospital, but police say they are expected to recover. A family lost their home to a fire in Ogden Canyon yesterday, which officials believe was started by illegal fireworks. Firefighters say this started just after midnight near the 9th Street trailhead. Ogden Deputy Fire Chief Mike Slater says this is why they have restrictions on fireworks in place.
We spend a lot of time and research and energy trying to decide when to put restrictions in place and what areas to do it, just because of cases like this. And in those early mornings when the wind's pushing these fires, it's hard for us to stop.
Several other homes were damaged as well. It was a busy weekend for fire crews all over the state. They made some major progress in the France Canyon fire, which is now 84% contained at just under 35,000 acres. The Forsyth fire is still burning nearly 14,000 acres. It's about halfway contained. And 2 new fires broke out this weekend. The Duck Club fire in Davis County has burned 196 acres. You can keep track of all the wildfires burning in the state by visiting our website and clicking on Utah Fire Watch at the top of the page. Arches National Park is dropping its timed entry program during peak tourist season. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
The majority of tourists visit Arches between March and October, so the National Park Service instituted a timed entry program to limit how many people can be in the park at any one time. However, between now and August 27th, no appointment time will be needed to enter the park according to the park's website, but there is still an entry fee.
The timed entry system will be put back in place starting on August 28th. Other national stories KSL is following. The White House confirms President Trump is pushing back this weekend's deadline for trade partners to avoid tariffs. Countries were told to strike a trade deal with the U.S. or face a 25% tariff on imports. The president is now sending out letters to a dozen foreign leaders informing them of the new deadline. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said more letters will be sent in the coming days.
So the reciprocal tariff rate or these new rates that will be provided in this correspondence to these foreign leaders will be going out the door within the next month, or deals will be made.
Japan and South Korea were among those who were told that there would be a 25% tax on goods starting in August. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We do have an accident at the ramp at Center Street, Provo, and southbound I-15. It is blocking a left lane of travel. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:36.
When was the last time your vacation was living the art of adventure? Discover it in Cedar City, Utah. Towering red rocks, epic trails, summer events, and world-class drama at the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival starting June 17th with Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and more. Marvel at nature's masterpieces with just a short drive to Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, and Kolob Canyons. Discover Utah's earliest artists at the Parowan Gap Petroglyph site. Head up to Bryan Head for chairlift rides that deliver endless high-elevation views. Wildflower Meadows, topped off with ATV and downhill biking trails. Be starstruck by the skies at Cedar Breaks National Monument. Browse Cedar City's unique shops and indulge in savory bites. Come experience the art of adventure around every turn in Cedar City. Start planning your vacation right now at visitcedarcity.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. While Utah watches the death toll rise from flooding in Texas, officials say we do have severe weather alerts here, but there is still room for improvement in getting the word out. KSL News Time 12:38. Government officials are urging national parks to work with the cities and communities around them more. KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson explains.
These communities and cities outside of national parks are called gateway communities. The Deseret News reports Interior Secretary Doug Burgum issued an order to strengthen relationships between national parks and their surrounding communities last week. The National Park Service says 2.4 million people visited the national parks in southern Utah in 2023, spending nearly $400 million in nearby communities. Burgum says the order will help both national parks and gateway communities be more successful and sustainable by increasing how much they work together. Vril Johansson, KSL News Radio.
Majority of Utahns want better protections for the environment, even if it means the economy slows down.
A survey conducted by Utah State University got people from all but 3 of Utah's counties and over 400 households. Not even a quarter of those who responded say they believe economic and job growth are more important than protecting the environment. 75% of people who responded say they're happy with Utah's environmental conditions and outdoor sites. A slightly smaller amount of people say they'd be willing to change their plans and behaviors to preserve these lands. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Before you take a dip in the lake this summer, be aware that harmful algal blooms are already showing up in Utah's waterways. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports on what you should be watching for.
Algal blooms are showing up early this summer. Amber Johnson, director of Utah Poison Control, says don't let your children or pets swim in scummy waters. And when in doubt, stay out.
If they were to swallow any of the water, you can get nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain.
The blooms are fast-growing bacteria that can produce toxins, especially when the temperatures are hot. They often look like scum or mats on the water. They feed on fertilizers, phosphates from detergents, and runoff from storms. Johnson says the blooms will be a problem for the rest of the summer, and some blooms could persist through the winter. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Planned explosions in the West Desert are expected to resume today. The Tooele Army Depot plans to conduct more detonations today after taking a break for the 4th of July holiday weekend. Depending on factors including temperature, cloud cover, and more, those explosions can sometimes be heard or felt miles away. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
A left lane still blocked with an accident, and this is in Utah County at the ramp, southbound I-15, Center Street, Provo. Really not causing any kind of backup, but definitely something you want to be aware of. If you're traveling any of the Salt Lake County freeways, you're good to go. Our main secondaries, no problems reported there. Our only other spot where we are definitely seeing slowing, it's in the work zone in Davis County, southbound I-15, near Burton Lane as you go between Kaysville and Farmington. Try UTA and get more done while you ride. Games, work, books, shows. You'll be too busy to notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Here we go with the heat, folks. 96 today, sunny skies. Tomorrow jumps to 98, high pressure building, breezy. Breezy again on your Wednesday, partly cloudy, and a high of 99 degrees. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, it's sunny and 88 degrees. Coming up on Midday, a new report from the Deseret News shows migrants are more likely to be the victims of violent crime than perpetrators. We'll hear more about their finding from Deseret News reporter Jacob Hess. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in the parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box, or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Nothing says summer like double rewards on your Mountain America Rewards credit card. Get 2 times the points on everything from gas and groceries to travel and home projects. Now through July 31st, 2025. Oh, wow. It's the perfect way to stretch your dollar and make summer doubly rewarding. Apply for your Mountain America Rewards credit card at macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there, there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
KSL News Time, 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the Texas flash flood tragedy brings to mind Utah's deadly 2015 Hilldale flash flood that claimed 20 lives. The National Weather Service says southern Utah's landscape makes that area especially at risk. I'm KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson.
Second, crews say they've recovered the body of a man they believe drowned at Huntington State Park this weekend. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
No delays on any of your Salt Lake County freeways or on I-15 in Utah County, but we do have a crash in Provo. It's at the ramp at Center Street and southbound I-15, blocking a left lane of travel. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
96 today with sunny skies. Then the wind picks up and temps crank near 100. I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At least 90 are dead across 5 counties in Texas after catastrophic flooding. Search continues for the missing. Kerrville City Manager Dalton Rice.
From Hunt all the way to Comal County in a straight line distance is over 100 kilometers. This is a massive field.
And in North Carolina, flooding from a separate storm is blamed for at least one death this weekend. Authorities in McAllen, Texas say a gunman who opened fire at a border patrol station today was killed during a shootout.
He's been identified as 27-year-old Ryan Mosqueda. He has a Michigan address, but he was also reported missing just this morning from a local area in Texas. Police haven't quite figured out the nature of that missing persons report. The car he was driving had some words written on it in Latin. They're still trying to sort through that.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. President Trump hosts Israel's prime minister today at the White House, pushing to finalize a Gaza ceasefire deal. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. We've heard a lot over the years about how the increase in migrants leads to an increase in crime, but what is the truth of the matter? Jacob Hess with the Deseret News has been looking at the data compiled from studies across the country. He joins me now live. Thank you so much for being with me today. What did you find in your deep dive of this topic?
Thanks, Maria. I actually tried to find any study that showed otherwise. Every study out there shows immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes, including migrants. And I couldn't find any data that says otherwise. There's actually 145 years of data that shows either equal incarceration rates or lower.
So where do we get this perception then?
Well, that's precisely what got me curious, because a majority of Americans now think that a larger number of migrants entering the country leads to more crime. That's 85% of Republicans. So as a journalist, it's supposed to be about truth-seeking, and I just haven't found any evidence that actually backs that up.
So tell us what your data found when it comes to the victimization of migrants.
Yeah, this one is a little trickier because migrants are so hesitant to report because they're understandably fearful of getting deported. But what the two clear patterns that emerge are established immigrants, those who have been here for a couple of years and who are more familiar with the language, are less likely to be victimized. But those who are recently arrived and who are especially undocumented are more likely to be victimized. Perpetrators can target undocumented migrants knowing that they're fearful of going to the police. So there's lots of evidence that there's unique levels of vulnerability there. And of course, many of these people have fled countries where, a third of migrants report having some kind of torture in their home countries. So there's multiple vulnerabilities for the migrants that are getting left out of a national conversation that's focused just on the idea that they're increasing crime rates.
Right. Plus, it's pretty difficult, like as you said, to determine how extensive they are being victimized.
That's right. The arrest data is hard. But the thing is, if they're more hesitant to report crimes, and the available data we have shows that they're being victimized more, right? So likely that they could be even more highly victimized. Anyway, I believe that truth could be a common ground, regardless of what you think about the White House, that we ought to be able to say, hey, what's the truth here?
Right.
So that's the purpose of the report.
And people can read more in the Deseret News.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being with me. You can read more at Deseret.com. That is Jacob Hess with the Deseret News. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Ricky Meese.
The usual slowdowns again today in Davis County, southbound I-15 between Kaysville and Farmington, especially concentrated near Burton Lane. That is due to road work. Delay-free on your Salt Lake County freeways. And on I-15 in Utah County, a crash at the ramp. Southbound I-15 at Center Street in Provo. The left lane is blocked, but we're not seeing any delay. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. It's mid-90s today with sunshine. Not bad. Tomorrow, 98. Sunny skies. Downright hot with wind on Wednesday. Partly cloudy, 99. Then we drop off to 90 degrees. That'll feel nice on Thursday. Mostly sunny, but still a bit breezy. 91 on Friday, sunshine. Blue skies on Saturday and Sunday, both with highs in the mid-90s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's sunny and 88 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Looks like both the Dow, all three, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all down by about 1% at this hour. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hey gang, it's Big Jim Smith. I am now retired and I'm a full-time radio listener, and I'm glad I am. I had a unique situation of not being able to refi my house because I'm not employed. Despite the fact that I have lots of income, I have tons of assets, overcoming some hurdles made it impossible to get things together with banks or credit unions. So I contacted a guy I heard about right here on the radio, Rick Kirchenbaum at Loans by Rick. Best phone call I've ever made. Rick and his team at Vintage Lending were able to help me overcome some incredible hurdles, how to verify my income, all the things I needed to do to get my refi together, and they got me more cash out of my house than I expected. Do it. If you have problems getting your financing together, call Loans by Rick. You can trust Rick Kirchenbaum, Loans by Rick, and Vintage Lending. He is NMLS number 241179. Call him directly at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Tell him Big Jim sent you. Loans by Rick.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hey folks, it's Jay Broadbent here with Alpine Home Medical, celebrating 28 years of keeping Utah and Idaho comfortable and at home. Back in '97, I started with a truck, a dream, and a lot more hair. Today, we've got 11 stores from Idaho Falls to St. George. From the moment you step into our clean, welcoming showrooms, you'll feel the Alpine difference. Our team will be there to listen and guide you to the best solutions for your needs. We believe that the right equipment can transform lives. We're honored to be a part of your healthcare journey and to help you live the life you deserve. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee. based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time 12:54. Analysts predict consumers will spend a record $23.8 billion online during the Prime Week event this year. That's nearly $10 billion more than last year. ABC's Chuck Severson has more.
Expected spending for Prime Week is about $5 billion more than during the Black Friday Cyber Monday period, says Vivek Pandya, lead insights analyst at Adobe Analytics.
We're anticipating strong deals on electronics and categories like apparel are going to be pretty good.
Also TVs, toys, furniture, computers, sporting goods, and food. Expected discounts across U.S. retailers are from 10 to 20% off listed prices.
Prime Week starts tomorrow and ends on Friday. Watching Utah's money, software company Oracle is giving a massive discount to federal government agencies. Wall Street Journal reports the company is offering government agencies a 75% discount on its software through the end of November. The deal also includes a discount on Oracle's cloud services. Fast casual restaurants like Chipotle and Starbucks are hoping their loyalty programs will keep customers coming back despite the economic uncertainty. CNBC reports the restaurant industry only saw monthly traffic increase once last year, but restaurants are hopeful because data from Circana shows that customers who join loyalty programs make 22% more visits each year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 501 points, sitting at 44,330. S&P is down by 56, and the NASDAQ down by 199 points.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how you get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky Meese, what's happening on the roads?
Good speeds on your Salt Lake County freeways. A little bit of slowing southbound I-15 in Davis County near Burton Lane, and that's due to the road work. And in Utah County, we still have a left lane blocked with a crash at the ramp southbound I-15 at Center Street in Provo. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Stuck in the 90s for the next 7 days. We just hit 90 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
More than 80 people confirmed dead and an unknown number of people missing following tragic flooding in Texas.
When you're calling for help and there's nobody, where are they? But I know maybe they can't come close by because of the water. I understand that.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, July 7th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll have a special half-hour deep dive into the weather warnings and recovery responses, plus more on how to prepare for flooding in Utah. Also this hour,
environment, the recreation, the natural resources that we have here are very important to Utahns.
Are Utahns willing to sacrifice economic growth in order to help the environment? But first, our top stories. The Alpine School District is issuing more than $200 million worth of bonds to build schools that won't be in the district in 2 years. KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson has more.
Alpine School District Communications Director Rich Stowell says the bonds will fund a high school in Saratoga Springs and an elementary school in Eagle Mountain. He says they're selling the bonds now to get lower rates. Stowell says the district is committed to helping build schools where they are most needed. The Lake Mountain District will take over the bonds after the district is split in 2027.
Stowell says they haven't had a set final amount for how much the bonds will be, but board members are hoping to keep it close to $200 million. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump has announced 25% tariffs on goods from Japan and South Korea beginning August 1st. The president says there are persistent trade imbalances with the two crucial U.S. allies in Asia. President Trump is expected to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House tonight. There are two major issues on the leader's agenda.
The goal, of course, is to get to that ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. The president said yesterday he believed they were close and that he thinks that they could get it done this week. They're also going to be talking about the recent U.S.-Israel offensive operations and attacks against Iran and where things stand in terms of the future of Iran's nuclear program.
That is ABC's Karen Travers reporting. There are possible new clues as to the whereabouts of a Washington state father on the run for weeks, accused of killing his 3 daughters.
For over a month, Travis Decker, trained by the military in wilderness survival, has been on the run, accused of killing his 3 young daughters while he had visitation of them. The trail had gone cold on his whereabouts, but now a family camping in the Bear Creek area of Idaho's Sawtooth National Forest saw a man on July 5th who looked a lot like Decker. The U.S. Marshals Greater Idaho Task Force is now surging into the area. An active search is underway. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 501 points. That's more than a full percent, sitting at 44,326. S&P down by 56 points. The NASDAQ down nearly a full percent, down 197 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A new accident again in Utah County. This crash is at the exit ramp in the right lane, northbound I-15 at 5th East, American Fork, but we're not seeing any kind of backup. You've got plenty of room to get around it. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mid to upper 90s for the next 3 days, dipping down to 90 degrees on Thursday, but then slowly climbing again, and not a chance of rain in the 7-day forecast. 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Hey, gang, it's Big Jim Smith. I am now retired, and I'm a full-time radio listener, and I'm glad I am. I had a unique situation of not being able to refi my house because I'm not employed. Despite the fact that I have lots of income, I have tons of assets, overcoming some hurdles made it impossible to get things together with banks or credit unions. So I contacted a guy I heard about right here on the radio, Rick Kirchenbaum at Loans by Rick. Best phone call I've ever made. Rick and his team at Vintage Lending were able to help me overcome some incredible hurdles, how to verify my income, all the things I needed to do to get my refi together, and they got me more cash out of my house than I expected. Do it. If you have problems getting your financing together, call Loans by Rick. You can trust Rick Kirchenbaum, Loans by Rick, and Vintage Lending. He is NMLS number 241179. Call him directly at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Tell him Big Jim sent you. Loans by Rick.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A massive search and recovery effort continues in Texas this hour following devastating floods over the long holiday weekend. More than 90 people are now confirmed dead, including more than 24 children. An unknown number of people still missing. President Trump is set to visit the affected areas later this week. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Over the next half hour, we really dig into this horrific event. Our special coverage begins with Start Here host Brad Milkey and ABC's Maria Villarreal describing the situation and the stories of survival.
Can you just walk me through what happened?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think as journalists, we try not to use words like heartbreaking or devastating, but really there are very few words that can describe the tone, the feeling, the emotion of what people in this community are going through and what you feel when you drive into this county and this area.
Disaster. It was horrible. I've been through a lot, but I haven't seen anything like that in my life.
This started Thursday afternoon. A lot of people did get notices that there would be rain in the area and it might affect their 4th of July celebrations. But it didn't seem severe to a lot of people yet. There were definitely thunderstorms throughout the night. You know, we spoke with a business owner. Her name is Lorena Guillen, and she talked about her restaurant being affected that night.
For the 4th of July in Kerrville, when it was perfect weather for fireworks, this place was packed. I mean, every single hotel, RV park was full.
They had closed around 1 a.m. It had not started flooding as of 2 a.m., but within 1 hour, from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., she saw a rush of raging water come into the backyard of her business, the Howdy Restaurant. And for her, it was unbelievable. She didn't even know where to start.
We had all the EMS and rescue team trying to save a family that was at the river, clinging for life, and they couldn't get to them.
You heard them.
We all heard them.
I think that it was extremely stunning for people in that area to see how much rain was falling in such a short amount of time.
With the rain, I'm hearing cracking noises. It's indescribable, the sounds of how loud they were, which turned out to be the cypress trees coming down along the river.
And then you did hear from a lot of people saying, yes, we knew that there was going to be rainstorms. Yes, we knew it could create some flooding, but we never thought it would get this bad.
How high did waters end up rising?
You know, a lot of local leaders have told us the waters rose way over 20 feet. Wow. They measure that by where the Guadalupe River is in some places and the fact that it was, overflowing over some of their overpasses and bridges.
That river rose 26 feet in 45 minutes.
When you talk to residents, for example, I mean, they were living in, homes that were elevated on the banks of the Guadalupe River, and the water not just flooded their homes, and we're not just talking about 1 or 2 feet, we're talking about it topped over their homes.
But they didn't say, seriously, you better be careful. This is like we have this many, however inches of rain coming, and may come here and you will all be washed away.
We spoke to one woman and her husband, and they basically told us that when the water started to come in, it was up to their ankles and then their calves, and then they looked over and in minutes it just seemed to take over their entire house.
When you're calling for help and there's nobody, where are they? But I know maybe they can't come close by because of the water. I understand that.
She didn't know how to swim, Brad, and it was such a scary moment for her. Her husband took the one safety vest they had that he uses for fishing, put it on her and said, "We have got to get out of here." And they walked out of their home and were swept away by the waters, and they were able to survive by hanging on to the branches of a nearby tree. At one point, that husband told her, you've got to hang on. Somebody will come for us. They called 911 multiple times.
He said, if we live together. If you die, we die together. So he never let me. He just hold on to me.
Just brings tears to your eyes. How devastating. And it's one thing if you're in your home when the flooding hits, but it's even more frightening for people camping. I mean, where do they go? What do they do? One of the places most affected is a church camp called Camp Mystic. Today, dozens of young girls remain missing from the camp. More from Start here on the search for survivors as that continues this afternoon.
Camp Mystic is one of the biggest girls' camps really in all of the state of Texas. I mean, people travel from out of this state to come here because it is that special for them. What we understand is that the water came in and overtook the camp a lot faster than what they anticipated. They were able to get some campers evacuated and into safe areas, but not necessarily out of the entire campgrounds. And the reason is because these places are on the riverbanks and off of the main roads. And once the water started to rise up the Guadalupe River, not only did it create flooding at the camps, it also created flooding on the roadways, meaning they were trapped. There was no way to get in or out, so they had to find the highest ground possible in order to save not just themselves, and we're talking about the counselors, the adults there, but the campers as well. And Camp Mystic wasn't the only camp that was affected. We know that several different camps had to deal with this, like Camp Lahuna and Heart of the Hills.
The flood started getting bigger, and it was going up to, we have bunk beds in our cabins, and it was going up to the top bunk, and we had one choice, and we had to swim out of our cabins.
A lot of these campers were still stranded as of Saturday afternoon because, the water hadn't receded and there was just no way to get in or out.
Right. And I mean, as I'm talking to you right now, it's still 10 campers that are missing, one counselor. That's from that camp alone. A lot of even the dead still pending ID. I guess I'm wondering, Maria, I mean, do authorities think that as they go out on these desperate rescue missions at this point, are they expecting to find people alive days after these floods?
We asked that exact question to state and local authorities at a press conference. The county judge here in Kerr County had made a comment that at some point, or this was going to turn into, go from a rescue mission to a recovery. He was alluding to the fact that that's where this was moving. The governor did come, and that's when he stepped in and said, listen, we are going to continue to search for everybody, and we're going to presume that everybody is alive.
We still have our Department of Public Safety assets, the National Guard, Texas Task Force 1 and 2, and game wardens, all fully engaged in responding to the disaster in Kerrville.
There are definitely a lot of different emergency crews out here helping any way they can. We actually flew with the U.S. Coast Guard. the uniqueness of their particular aircraft that they took us in was that they have infrared technology, and that is essential right now in this particular mission, because if you're trying to fly at night and you can't really see what's going on because obviously it's dark, the only other way you can tell if there is somebody out there needing help or stuck in a tree is if you can see the heat coming off their body. And that's what this technology does. And there are a lot of helicopters or a lot of aircraft that are out there right now that are not equipped with that kind of technology.
You stay there! Help is coming!
The U.S. Coast Guard is going out there. Their mission is to find the missing. They are very committed to that mission. You can just tell they've been working around the clock. They were tired, but they were still out there trying to help. There's over 400 first responders from 20 different agencies here. You can tell they are all out there trying to find not just the young campers, but everyone that has been missing or reported missing.
As a mom who sent her 2 boys to scout camp every year, this is something that is just unimaginable. How could this have happened? When we return in just 60 seconds, we'll get that perspective from ABC's chief meteorologist. Stay with us.
Hey there, it's Julie from Logan, where we know how to celebrate summer. First, something super cool when it's really hot. Logan has a new plaza downtown with music and games and a splash pad for kids. Well, I said kids, but hey, we don't judge. Jump in. Free Alive After 5 concerts and movies at the plaza Wednesday and Friday nights. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. Keep it cool by checking out live tribute concerts like The Monkees, Elton John's The Rocket Man Show, and the Neil Diamond Experience. If theater is more your style, see the musical Bright Star, Broadway's The Prince of Egypt, or the classic comedy The Importance of Being Earnest. After all, Logan is Utah's heart of the arts. Fresh mountain air is only 10 minutes from your hotel. Enjoy cooler temperatures in the canyon while you hike, mountain bike, picnic, fish, or sing yodelay-hee-hoo at the top of your lungs. Everything's cooler in Logan, and we've got a lot going on. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. explorelogan.com.
As the searching continues, lawmakers are demanding answers, with many Democratic members of Congress claiming the budget and staffing cuts from FEMA and the National Weather Service impacted forecasting and warnings. Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas says this is not the time for partisan finger-pointing and attacks. So how did this all happen, and how did it happen so quickly? ABC chief meteorologist Ginger Z explains how things became so deadly with Start Here host Brad Milkey.
This really was a confluence of meteorological and geographical worst case scenarios. And so meteorologically, like what's happening in the atmosphere that makes this much rain fall so quickly, in part has to do with tropical moisture left over, if you can believe it or not, from Barry that made landfall a long time ago in Mexico, but just kind of hung out over Mexico and then over the Texas state line, and then eventually just fed into this system. On top of that, you had Flossie in a little kind of wave, which was from the Pacific storm Flossie, that was moving into Texas as well. So kind of the combination of 2 old hurricane/tropical storms. And so you have a lot of water in the atmosphere that doesn't move much and just sits and spins. And that's really how it came to be from the top. Now, when that falls, say, on flatland or near the coast, there's a place for that water to go. When it falls in hill country, in Texas, which is historically known for flood events, it takes even less rain to create a really strong flash flood.
I was about to say, is there something about the Texas topography that made this all worse then?
Yes. So that's why it's the meteorology and the geography. It's a combination of problems. And so the whole day before there was a flood watch, and the 7:10 the night before, we get this, we call it a mesoscale convective discussion. And basically for meteorologists, that is a little heads up. Hey, this is looking nuts. And so 8 hours before catastrophe strikes, you've got this MCD for meteorologists that says there's going to be 3-inch at least per hour rainfall rates falling in this terrible part of the topography. And so ahead of time, it's like, this is going to be a big deal. And so as we watch 3-inch per hour rainfall rates, again, fall in this part of Texas, that can converge, especially in rivers like this river, and make for awful, awful conditions as we saw that night.
And what about staffing at the federal agencies who track storms and issue these warnings? Meteorologist Ginger Z says that as of right now, it appears the local offices were completely staffed, even more than needed in some places, to prepare for this potential flooding.
The National Weather Service was not only staffed fully, but they were actually staffed extra because they knew it would be a big night. So we can't say that they were understaffed, not at this office, that's for sure. We also know that no weather balloons, which had been a problem recently, were missed.
Okay.
So there were no government staffing issues that we know of. Do I think that something happened from the Weather Service side that was related to that? No. I think that they were staffed fully. I think they did the best they could and put out the warnings in a pretty timely fashion, honestly. The first flash flood warning goes out for Kerr County at 1:14 a.m., more than 3 hours before people are being washed downriver. I'm guessing that not many people have a way of getting that warning.
Right, the 1:14 in the morning.
At 1:14 in the morning. So one place that will go off is your cell phone, if you have the EAS turned on. It's also, do you have cell service there? We don't know the answer to that. We don't know that each pocket along this riverbed has cell service to get that EAS, that first alert 3 hours before. Now, at 4:03 a.m., a flash flood emergency is issued. And the text actually says, a wave of water is coming down this river. Catastrophic flooding expected, right? It's warning of exactly what is coming. Now, for some people, that's minutes. For some people, it's hours, an hour before the wave gets to them, depending on where they are along the river.
Ginger says it's hard to rely on cell service for weather alerts, and things like big sirens are so costly that many communities can't afford to install them. So what should you do instead? Well, we might not deal with flooding all the time. It does happen, though. We here in Utah have all, other sorts of natural disasters to contend with. Ginger recommends everyone to get an emergency NOAA radio.
Looking back at something like this, I think there's so many questions that will be asked, but I know what I would tell and what I would have if I was camping along a river, or if I were anywhere in the United States and I was outdoors or not. I would have a NOAA weather radio. I know we talk about this during tornadoes all the time. It directly takes that emergency alert from the National Weather Service and gets it to you. It's battery operated. It doesn't matter if you have cell phone service or not because it's a radio, and it will wake you out of a dead sleep, and it will tell you exactly what's coming your way.
And I was just told that they aren't very expensive to buy. You can get them on Amazon, and they're super cheap. Our special coverage of the flooding continues after the break with a more local look at how flash flooding can pop up in several places around Utah. What you need to know to stay safe coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We still have crews working on a couple of crashes in Utah County. One is northbound I-15 5th East, American Fork at the exit ramp over to the right. And the other cleanup continues on the crash southbound I-15 Center Street, Provo, also at the ramp. That one still blocking a left lane. Advanced Window Products offers Graber window coverings, high-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Have you seen those billboards that have a giant turtle on them that say, "Win a new air conditioner"? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you're probably wondering, what's that all about? Well, the turtle is a character in our new TV commercials that'll be airing this summer. I know it's kind of silly, but we're always trying to figure out how to grab attention and stand out in a crowded market. We thought a big turtle would do the trick. Another thing we're doing is Every week this summer, Any Hour is giving away an air conditioner to one lucky customer. We're calling it the Coolest Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how it works. This summer, if you get an estimate to replace your air conditioner or purchase a new air conditioner from Any Hour Services, you'll automatically be entered into our weekly drawing. If your name is drawn, Any Hour will pay for your air conditioner, up to $8,750. We just want to meet more homeowners that are in the market for a new air conditioner and have the chance to earn their business. We're confident that once you have an Any Hour technician in your home, you'll see why we have over 28,000 Google reviews. No purchase is necessary. See official rules at anyhour.com.
Summer is the perfect time for a refresh. Maybe you're taking time off from school, hitting the road for a well-earned vacation, or just soaking up the sunshine in your own backyard. This summer, give it the same fresh start with Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Right now, Zero Res is offering an unbeatable summer deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and take 15% off air duct cleaning while you're at it. Zero Res cleans with their patented ZR water, which means no soaps, no harsh chemicals, and no crunchy residue left behind. So whether you're cleaning up from summer adventures or just want a home that feels as fresh as it looks, now's the time. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and take 15% off air duct cleaning while you're at it. Book your appointment today at ZeroRes.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero Res is the right way to clean.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Our special coverage of the devastating flooding over the weekend continues. This segment, we wanted to spend some time talking about flood risks here in Utah. Glenn Merrill is a hydrologist with the National Weather Service, and he tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson that there are several areas around the state of Utah that are prone to flash flooding.
You know, many of our national parks and recreation areas in southern Utah are very prone for flash flooding. Where we typically see flash flooding, the geography, the terrain that produces flash flooding is most likely to see flash flooding is kind of the transition zone from, you know, those red rock areas that many of our national parks are, and into the bordering mountain areas where you can get large watersheds funneling into, you know, narrow, normally dry washes or slot canyon areas.
Could we see as devastating a flash flooding here in Utah as what they saw in Texas? Merrill says yes. He says we've already seen flooding of that kind about 10 years ago near Hilldale. Merrill says getting warnings to people can be difficult, especially with the kind of terrain and ruralness found here in Utah, and that often leads to a lack of cell phone coverage. He says they try and issue warnings and watches super early in the hopes that people in the area will be notified by at least one message before they get out of cell phone range.
We issue a 48-hour, goes out 48 hours into the future. It's called a flash flood potential rating for each of our national parks and recreation areas. The potential, you know, is the environment conducive for isolated flash flooding in these areas, or is it more likely to occur over the next couple of days? So we're trying to get the word out in advance before people might get out of cell phone range. And the biggest thing we do, you know, when we do issue a flash flood warning, it triggers the wireless emergency alert. So anyone with their phone within that area will get it if they have cell phone coverage. But another aspect that we work really hard on is building the relationships with our national parks, with our first responders, and being in touch with them so that they can further distribute the information in advance as best as possible.
If you are one of those more adventurous Utahns who like to go deep into the state's wilderness, is there more that you can do? More preparations and precautions that you should take?
Everyone has a different risk tolerance, but what we always like to try to promote for whoever's going out in these areas is to be weather aware, to have an awareness of the potential. Are we expecting clear conditions and dry conditions and no threat of flash flooding, or is there a chance for thunderstorm development? And that's what we really look for in the state of Utah, is the monsoonal thunderstorms that they have high intensity rainfall over a short period of time. That's what produces these flash floods in these areas. So being weather aware, understanding the potential outcomes from the weather for the days that you're going to be venturing out in those areas.
Remember, you can always keep up to date on weather warnings and your daily forecast too by downloading the KSL Weather app. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A majority of Utahns saying that they want lawmakers to do more to protect the environment. What the University of Utah is doing to improve MRI accuracy, and KSL traffic. Ricky?
The left lane remains blocked with this accident in Utah County at the ramp southbound I-15 Center Street, Provo. Maria?
KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, let's get the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Texas, at least 90 are dead across 5 counties following catastrophic flash flooding. Crews still searching for the missing. The deadly storm raising concerns over the alert systems in the flood-prone area. ABC's Ginger Z says federal weather agencies ramped up staffing.
The National Weather Service offices there were more than staffed. They were staffed extra, actually, which is normal. The National Weather Service confirming to us that that's called surge staffing ahead of a big event like this.
North Carolina also dealing with river flooding and evacuations due to remnants of Chantal. One woman confirmed dead in Chatham County after her vehicle, police say, was swept away. Later today, President Trump hosts Israel's prime minister for meetings. At the top of the agenda, a possible Gaza and hostage release deal. And in Los Angeles, a large immigration enforcement operation taking place today. Armored vehicles and federal agents spotted in streets. The Defense Department, in a social media post, says U.S. military personnel are on the ground to ensure the safety of federal agents. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. 2 teens have been arrested after several people, including a Centerville police officer, were injured by a firework during the city's Freedom Festival this weekend. Centerville City says a firework exploded into a crowd of people, causing several minor injuries, including to the officer who tried to stomp it out. Officers believe that it was shot by someone within a large crowd of teens near where they were patrolling. Other local stories KSL is following. If you are heading to Arches National Park in the next 7 weeks, you will not need a scheduled entry time. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly explains.
Park officials are suspending their timed entry system until August 27th. There's no word as to why the pilot program is being dropped during the busiest time of the year for tourists, but you will still have to pay an entry fee. The timed entry system in Arches this year was from April 1st to July 6th, and it will start again on August 28th through October 31st. The National Park Service website reports nearly 2 million people a year visit Arches, so the timed entry program was put in place to regulate how many visitors can tour the park at any one time. The cost is $30 per vehicle for up to 7 days. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
New data shows the Hispanic community is playing a big role in Utah's population growth. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
The data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows we added a little more than 60,000 new residents between 2023 and 2024, and just under half of those people are Hispanic or Latino. Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute Director of Demographic Research Mallory Bateman tells me this is just another indicator Utah and America at large are becoming more diverse.
It's just kind of part of who we are as Utahns and as Americans.
Latinos now make up just under a fifth of Utah's total population. KSL Sports. John Collins is moving on from the Jazz after he was swapped for Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson from the Miami Heat.
It's not great value in return for Collins, who had one of the better years of his career last season, but the goal for the Jazz is to play their young players and still lose games next season so they can get another high draft pick. And by moving Collins, they can do that more authentically without just having to rest players or sit players in the middle of games when they're healthy otherwise.
That is Jazz insider Ben Anderson. He told me earlier in the show that he doesn't expect it to be worse than last season, but it's not going to be the comeback that they want it to be. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 524 points, more than a full percent, sitting at 44,302. S&P down by 60, and the NASDAQ down by 207 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Still seeing a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 in the work zone, and this is Davis County near Burton Lane as you go from Kaysville to Farmington. And we're still seeing the cleanup of an earlier crash. Southbound I-15, Center Street, Provo, at the ramp. A right lane is blocked. It may take them a little while to get this cleared, but traffic really not affected. You have plenty of room to get around it. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high today of 96 degrees, 98 tomorrow, 99 on Wednesday. Then we'll see a dip in the temperatures on Thursday. 89 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
You bought a house, or maybe you're building one, but it just isn't feeling like home. Not yet. AMC Building Materials has this undeniable knack for transforming a house into a home. Your home. How do they do that? They combine years of exceptional kitchen and bath creations with your ideas. In fact, customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. You know what you want. You know it's not going to be cookie cutter. And this is exactly where AMC shines. AMC delivers exceptional quality, bold-style kitchen and bath designs, along with their exceptional value and a timeline you'll love. Most projects are complete by the elite AMC professional installers in under 10 days. Immerse yourself in the beauty, function, and feel in person at the AMC Building Materials showroom in Salt Lake City. Get directions and schedule your free estimate at amckitchenslc.org. AMC Building Materials, transforming your house into a home. amckitchenslc.org.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
I'm Paul. I'm a contractor. I had a tax problem that was pretty significant. Needed some help with the IRS. I had prepared my taxes for a few years, but when I went to file them, I didn't have any money to pay those taxes. And so I just filed the returns in my drawer and went about my business. And about 3 years went by when I did that, and pretty soon I owed $102,000. And I met with Jordan, and we talked about the hole I dug myself into. And from start to finish, the process was encouraging, supportive, saved me about $80,000, $102,000 to $22,000. No complaints.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Schedule your free consultation today. Visit endtaxworry.com.
The relief is immeasurable.
Don't wait. End your nightmare. Your relief starts at endtaxworry.com.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The majority of Utahns want lawmakers to do more to protect the environment, even if it comes at the cost of economic growth. That's according to a new study from Utah State University. Dr. Jessica Schott is the director of Utah State's Community and Natural Resources Institute. She tells me USU's survey shows Utahns broadly support environmental protections.
The environment, the recreation, the natural resources that we have here are very important to Utahns, and we asked about how they perceive a variety of environmental issues and really found that issues like water, air, climate change are very important to Utahns, and they really would like to see our politicians doing more to address some of these problems that we're facing. So we asked some questions about environmental regulations, and we did see that Utahns were supportive of more regulations. Just in general, they would like to see politicians doing more to address issues, especially, for instance, air quality, population growth, lack of water or drought, and the drying up of the Great Salt Lake were all issues that they really wish politicians would, work together to create some policies that could help protect some of these, natural and recreational amenities that we have here that are so important to them.
So talk about some of the key areas, like, for example, the Great Salt Lake. Talk about how they feel about that.
In terms of the Great Salt Lake, when we compare it to other environmental issues, it rises to the top in terms of what residents are very concerned about. So we ask about, I think, 15 or so environmental issues, and the highest percentage are concerned with the drying of the Great Salt Lake. So 55% say that they're very concerned about the drying up of the Great Salt Lake. And this is in comparison to, say, issues like air quality, where people say 41%, or loss of biodiversity, 48%. So it really is at the forefront of people's minds. And we asked some questions about, are they aware of it? 87% are aware of the drying up of the Great Salt Lake. We asked people about, what they see as some of the contributors to the drying up, and folks talked about agriculture as being a main driver of the problem. And then they talk about, too, or we asked them questions, I should say, about what are some of the, the things that they're really concerned about with regards to the drying of the Great Salt Lake. And so folks talked a lot about, harms to migrating birds or other species, of course, harms to human health, harmful algae blooms, harm to the ski industry. And so a lot of concern about all of these myriad of impacts. And again, like I was saying, they really want to see politicians doing more, coming together and crafting bipartisan legislation that helps to address some of these issues connected to the drying up of it.
Right. When I look outside today in the middle of the summer, haze is definitely starting to become an issue. What are they saying about the air quality?
Yeah, so I haven't dug into it too closely. So one of the things with this Utah People and Environment poll that we've been doing, and this is the second iteration of it. So we did the first iteration in 2023, the second one at the end of 24, the beginning of 25, and that's what I'm talking about today. But it's a group of faculty and graduate students and even some undergraduate students across USU, and it's meant to be a representative snapshot of the population of Utah as a whole. And it's a quite long survey, but the kind of cool thing about it is we have faculty and students from all sorts of different backgrounds adding different sets of questions on there. And so a faculty member named Sydney O'Shea, who's in communication studies, she was really interested in asking people about how they thought they could protect themselves or their families from some of the different negative impacts of the drying of the Great Salt Lake. And so I haven't dug into this data specifically, but she asked some questions about, do people feel like they can purchase an air filter or limit their driving or leaving their houses, or do they have access to air purifiers? Those sort of things are questions that we ask on the survey and that we'll be digging into more in the coming months. So we just got the initial full report done, and then in coming months we'll be releasing a series of research briefs. So they're just meant to be shorter kind of snapshots of the findings on all of these different topics that we asked about, including the Great Salt Lake.
Right. You mentioned a couple of times here that Utahns want their lawmakers to start taking action on these. How do you hope that lawmakers or others use your study?
Yeah, I hope they see that how important these environmental amenities are to Utahns. One of the main things that are keeping people here, and driving migration here are our beautiful natural amenities. And so I think, like you could see with the threat to our public lands that occurred recently, there was a big pushback from residents of all sorts of different political backgrounds to protect our public lands from being sold off. And so I think if lawmakers can really see some of these numbers and how high levels of support are for protecting our lands, keeping them in public hands, making them accessible to all sorts of Utahns, I think it would be great if they could craft policy that better accounts for that. I think they'll get more support from residents, and it will help improve and maintain the well-being of residents here.
USU collected responses from 468 households from 26 of Utah's 29 counties. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
They are back. Harmful algal blooms are again invading Utah's lakes and rivers. Amber Johnson, director of the Utah Poison Control Center, tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi the problem usually surfaces later in the summer, but the hot temperatures have brought them out early.
So it does feel like they just kind of start earlier and earlier. And a lot of it just has to do with, the environmental conditions. When it's hotter, they tend to the perfect sort of environment for these cyanobacteria to grow, and when they do that, they create these blooms, or the harmful algal blooms.
With these perfect conditions, Johnson says that means the algal blooms are here to stay for the rest of the summer.
It's actually these like bacteria or cyanobacteria, so that are within lakes or rivers, and what they do is certain types of nutrients within those water bodies they can use to grow, and when they do that, they can also produce toxins.
Johnson says the blooms appear as bluish-green scum or mats on top of the water, and they are harmful for both people and pets. She says recreationists can learn more about contaminated bodies of water at the website haves.utah.gov.
So if there's a map, and it'll actually show you places that have like a health watch. So it's or there's a whiner, or potentially has a warning advisory or a danger advisory. And so the levels of each of those, danger is really where this means do not swim or water ski. A warning advisory is also where you shouldn't swim or water ski in the water. And then a health watch, during a health watch, you shouldn't swim or water ski there either. And so it really just means that there's a presence of either harmful algal bloom there, or even like a waterborne pathogen like E. coli or like that's been detected. And these types of advisories are issued by like the local health departments. So they'll post a sign at the water body to kind of let people know what's going on there.
She says swimming in contaminated water can cause a variety of negative health effects.
It kind of depends on the toxin that the cyanobacteria are creating, and so. But a lot of what we see here in Utah is people can have like skin irritation. They can get like a rash from just having it on their skin. Also, too, if they were to swallow any of the water, you can get nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain. And then in some cases where there's really high levels of toxin, you can see other problems. And so particularly for like dogs or animals that they have just smaller bodies and they tend to drink more water and like gross water, there's a toxin that can be really serious that has caused some dog deaths within the state.
Pet owners can also find more information to keep their pets safe at halves.utah.gov. You can also call the Poison Control Center 24 hours a day with questions or concerns. Using artificial intelligence to improve MRI exams. I'll tell you about a new program at the U of U. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Maria, we have some unusual slowdowns in Weber County on southbound I-15 between 31st Street, Hinckley Drive in Ogden, down to the I-84 junction in Riverdale. I don't have a problem reported yet, and I can't see what's causing these delays through the live traffic cameras, but definitely expect some slowing there. And that's in addition to the heavy and slow traffic southbound I-15 in the Burton Lane area as you go from Kaysville to Farmington due to road work. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right, it's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Join KSL and the Movie Show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Don't miss out on Jazz Youth Camps and Clinics. Brought to you by PB Fit. Camps are for ages 4 to 17 and include various skill level options. Let's go! Whether you're a beginner trying to learn the basics or a seasoned player wanting to fine-tune your skills, there's a camp for you. Learn from Utah Jazz Camp coaching staff and jazz personalities at select camps in multiple locations. Year-round on weekdays or weekends. Sign up and receive a reversible jersey, Jazz ticket vouchers, and a membership to Utah Jazz Shoot 360. Go to jazzyouth.com and register today.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. Artificial intelligence is helping doctors at the University of Utah Health diagnose more patients. Denise Case is the MRI manager in the Department of Radiology at the University of Utah Health, and she joined me to describe how new technology is not only helping patients, but also helping to save the environment. Start out and tell me how artificial intelligence, how AI is helping you diagnose people.
So with the Siemens Freemax and using AI, which is their deep resolved, it allows for better images. The sharpness of the image, the resolution of the image just looks better. With the Freemax, it's a very low field strength magnet, which typically we're using a 1.5 or a 3 Tesla magnet. The Freemax is using 0.55 Tesla. What that means is the strength of the magnet is measured in units of Tesla. So if you think of a refrigerator magnet, the kind that holds child's artwork, most of these magnets that we use are going to be 1,500 to 3,000 times stronger than a fridge magnet. Now, the 0.55 Tesla is much lower field strength than our typical machines. It uses the AI technology to produce images that have a quality of the higher machines, but it provides a lot better patient accessibility, patient comfort, and things like that.
Right. So often we think of something is better if it's stronger, but this one is using weaker magnets. So how does that change the patient experience, or are there other people who can now get an MRI that weren't able to get MRIs before?
It's not that they couldn't get an image with the traditional 1.5 or 3 Tesla scanners. It just opens up opportunities. So patients who are really anxious or they feel claustrophobic can use the Freemax. It's a much wider opening. It's at an 80 centimeter bore is what we call it. And so when you see it as a patient, it's more inviting. It's less scary. And also patients who have metal in their bodies, so somebody who's had a joint replacement or maybe pins or, in the lower back fusions, can actually use the Freemax to get good images. Historically, the larger the strength of the magnet, the more what we call artifacts occur with metal, which is kind of like a black hole. So you would see an image that just has an area of blackness. This Freemax kind of makes that image much less because the strength of the magnet, it doesn't distort the metal as much. So we can open it up to patients who are scared, anxious, claustrophobic, those who have had metal hardware in their bodies. We can open it up to them, which is exciting.
Right. Any other ways that this really is helping you in diagnosing patients?
One of the ways that this really helps is it doesn't use helium. So if we think about it from, green, sustainability and everything like that, we're excited because the Freemax only uses 0.7 liters of helium, whereas a normal machine uses over 1,000 liters of helium. Also, once that helium starts to dissipate or just kind of, evaporate into the air, the system captures it and recycles it. So we're not using all this helium. We're not losing it, which is, a non-renewable resource. So we're really focused on the green technology with this scanner. And because of that, it doesn't have a quench pipe. It is easy to install. And I think for greater patient accessibility, we can start to install these in underserved populations.
Did you ever think that technology would reach this point? I mean, where you're actually having AI helping you diagnose patients?
Honestly, no. I've been in the field over 20 years, and when you think low field magnets, as a technologist, as even a clinician, you're thinking grainy images that are not worth anything. To be able to use artificial intelligence and to make the quality of images so much better and diagnostic, it's something that I never really considered. But as time goes on, I think, AI is just going to start learning and adapting, and we're going to see a lot of, innovative solutions that are going to help reach a lot. Of patients.
Plus, you're saving the environment because we can't get helium anymore. I mean, we are all hearing about the shortages of helium.
Yes. And so they're, with this free max, and we're, using it for research, being able to, create and design these new solutions that is sustainable, that does help more patients, that allows for these smaller hospitals, outpatient clinics, in underserved areas to afford to install these machines. It's revolutionary.
Denise, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
And she calls the new technology a game changer for patients who couldn't get scanned before. Coming up in the next hour, a Utah doctor was in court today facing charges dealing with falsified COVID records. We'll get a live report up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Utah's population is steadily growing. The time is 1 o'clock, Monday, July 7th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll really dig into which demographics are growing the most and why. Also this hour,
you can't dismiss the humanness of it when you are looking at a person.
In their eyes, the stories of Utah's homeless community. But first, our top stories. Crews say they've recovered the body of a man they believe drowned at Huntington State Park this weekend. Emory County Sheriff's Office says they were called around 4 yesterday afternoon to help look for a possible drowning victim. They did not say how old the victim is or offer details about what led up to the drowning. The death toll from catastrophic flooding in Texas has risen to about 90. Search and rescue efforts continue for the dozens of people still missing. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more.
Search and rescue crews have been working around the clock. They've been tagging every location that they've been to, but the debris field is huge. And at this home, someone is literally shoveling mud out of their house. And he was telling me it has never flooded this high before. He said it went halfway up to the second story.
We're hearing from the first responder being called a hero after rescuing nearly 200 people at Camp Mystic, which was devastated by the floods. Coast Guard rescuer, swimmer Scott Ruskin told ABC News today that the young campers deserved credit for their response to the situation.
The real heroes, I think, were the kids on the ground. Like, those guys are heroic, and they were dealing with some of the worst times of their lives, and they were staying strong, and that helped inspire me to kind of get in there and help them out.
Ruskin is a Coast Guard rescue swimmer who was dropped into the camp by helicopter. As we follow the Texas flash flood tragedy, National Weather Service hydrologist Glenn Merrill says it brings to mind a similar deadly flash flood here in Utah.
September of 2015, a series of thunderstorms moved through southern Utah, the Hilldale area, and then into Zion National Park. And in the state of Utah, we had 20 fatalities in one day.
Merrill says our southern Utah landscape makes flash flooding a real threat here, especially in areas where red rocks transition into mountains and large watersheds can funnel in. All of the missing people have been found after a fireworks explosion at a warehouse in a small Northern California farming town. The remains of 7 victims have been recovered at that charred warehouse site. The warehouse was managed by a pyrotechnic company. Many of the fireworks were to be used at a community fireworks show on July 4th. CAL FIRE and the ATF are still working to figure out what set off all of those fireworks. And taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow down by more than 400 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 44,406. S&P down by 49 points, and the NASDAQ down by 188 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We've had this slowing southbound I-15 going from 31st Street, Ogden, down to the I-84 junction. In Salt Lake City, cleanup of a crash at 3rd West and 4th South. And in Utah County, the left lane still affected due to an accident. This is at the ramp southbound I-15, Center Street in Provo. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
96 for a high today, but up to 99 by Wednesday. A bit of a cool down on Thursday, but I'm talking only 90 degrees for a high. Ouch. Right now, 91 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Utah doctor in court today accused of faking COVID-19 vaccines and records while only giving children saline shots. Now, supporters rallying in support of the man outside a Salt Lake City courthouse. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there in the courtroom today. Eric, this has been a case making the headlines for a while, and
That's
why
right.
is today significant?
So, Maria, today is day one of jury selection. I counted 68 potential jurors from across Utah showed up to the federal courthouse in Salt Lake City, and over the next couple days, that number will be narrowed down to just 12 jurors, plus a couple alternates who will hear the full case.
So remind us what Dr. Moore is accused of.
Sure. So Dr. Michael Kirk Moore and 3 others are facing federal charges for allegedly faking COVID-19 vaccinations. Prosecutors say they handed out fraudulent vaccine cards and, in some cases, gave children saline shots instead of real vaccines, all at the request of parents.
So what is the government saying about that?
So federal investigators are calling this a serious breach of public trust. They say not only did Moore and his team undermine pandemic health efforts, but they also put vulnerable people, including children, at real risk. Agencies like the FBI, Homeland Security, and Department of Health and Human Services, they're all involved in the case.
Were there people reacting outside the courthouse?
Yeah, there were. There was a small group of protesters showing up with signs supporting Dr. Moore. They see him as someone standing up against vaccine mandates. But inside the courtroom, it's about whether he broke federal law and endangered lives.
What's next?
So once jury selection wraps up over the next 48 hours, which the judge said, like I said, will go into tomorrow at least, then opening arguments will begin. And prosecutors and defense attorneys are gearing up for what could be a pretty high-profile trial.
Thanks, Eric. Eric Cabrera, thanks for joining me to talk about this. Utah continues to grow, but what is driving much of this growth? According to new data, it's Hispanics, both in immigration and in births. New numbers break down the state's population growth, showing a similar trend to what we are seeing on a national level. Now, Utah added a little more than 60,000 residents between 2023 and 2024, and nearly half of those people are Hispanic or Latino. That's according to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau.
And the Hispanic or Latino population is our second largest racial or ethnic group. It's over 500,000 residents. And coming from a bunch of different backgrounds. So, they're definitely a big factor in our overall population change.
Mallory Bateman is the director of demographic research at the Kempsey Gardner Institute. She tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that there have been several demographic changes within the Hispanic population over the last 30 years as well.
In the 90s, when we first kind of got this big wave of Hispanic or Latino migration and population growth, the population was a lot younger. You had younger age working adults. And if they were first generation folks to the U.S., they might have had more children. As you've got people that have been here longer and you're, second or third generation, the number of births per adult has gone down. But there was a good stretch in kind of the 1990s and early 2000s where you saw the Hispanic or Latino population having bigger families and having more kids. The white population in the state is older, and so you don't have the opportunity to have as many kids if you're older, and so I think that makes an impact. But I think, both in Utah and the U.S. broadly, we're becoming more racially and ethnically diverse, and so I think the people who identify as Hispanic or Latino come from a bunch of different backgrounds, right? Come from a bunch of different racial groups, and so it's just kind of part of who we are as Utahns and as Americans.
But it's not just the Latino community. There have been several demographics that have changed since the 1990s.
There's a long laundry list of ways that the state has changed over the past 30 years. I would say, there's a lot more communities here that are really robust and have more members probably than they used to. We've got our Hispanic or Latino community is largely Mexican, but we've got a big, compared to other states, Venezuelan population, a big Chilean population. And so we've got some new communities that have kind of started to blossom and grow in the past 15, 20 years. But I think, we're just a bigger state now. And so we see different things. We have different markers in our population than we did when we were kind of a quiet Western outpost that no one really knew about.
Bateman says a lot of growth in the last 15 years has contributed to more diverse communities. Now, she says the trends in Utah's population growth continue to go up in a pretty steady fashion.
We are continuing to become more diverse. I wouldn't say that our growth between 2010 and 2020 is the first time we've popped, because I think there were some really fast growing communities here, from 2000 to 2010. That caught the attention of a lot of different places, and decadal growth rate wise, we actually have added more people in previous decades than we did between 2010 and 2020. We've kind of ranged around 500,000 residents each decade for the past 3. So I think, some of the growing pains maybe are a little bit more acute because of some broader external factors like the housing market and different economic things now. But the growth that we've experienced overall has been kind of steady for the past, 3 decades.
The new data show Latinos now make up just under a fifth of Utah's population. Between 2023 and 2024, Latinos made up more than half of the growth in Davis, Weber, and Wasatch counties, and more than 3/4 of the growth in Salt Lake County. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
The wait is almost over. After 2 years of renovation, the perfect downtown lunch spot is now almost open. The Garden Restaurant opens on June 30th. The Garden Restaurant offers a beautifully designed space and deliciously fresh menu. It's close to everything downtown next to the Temple Square block. If you need something quick and on the go, or to meet a client, friend, or place to relax, the Garden Restaurant offers healthy options like handcrafted sandwiches, soups, unique salads, plus traditional favorites like homemade pot pies and the famous Lion House rolls. The Garden's new look and tasty menu offers something for everyone, featuring dine-in, patio seating, lobby seating, and grab-and-go or quick online ordering. Visit the Garden today. Reimagine space with remarkable taste. Easy street access on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. Open weekdays 11 to 3. Check out the menu at thegardenslc.com. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant, opening next week, June 30th. See you there.
The Alpine School District is getting ready to sell more than $200 million worth of bonds. It's all to build schools that won't actually be in the district in 2 years. Why? Because the district is splitting. District Communications Director Rich Stowell tells KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson that they need to continue their planning for the future.
The primary purpose of the lease revenue bond that will be issued this summer is to help fund the construction of the new high school, which we've already broken ground on, as well as an elementary school in Eagle Mountain.
What about the cost for those bonds?
I think the final amount is yet to be determined, but it's looking at around like between 200 and 230 million. And I know the board would like to keep it closer to the 200 million side of things. They would maintain some flexibility to make sure that they get those facilities built.
In 2 years, the Alpine School District will split. When that happens, the school district on the western side of Utah Lake will take on the debt of those bonds.
For the period of time the Alpine School District is still a legal entity, that debt will be in Alpine's name. And so early on, Alpine School District will be paying some of the debt amount, but the largest portion is going to be repaid by the new school district out west, which is currently called the Lake Mountain School District.
Stowell says they are issuing the bonds now so they can get a better rate. He says this will be beneficial to the new school district. As Alpine continues preparing for the school district split, Stowell says the current Board of Education is doing everything it can to ensure the new districts are all set up for success.
You know, this board is united in its commitment to getting facilities where needed, and we know there's been a lot of growth out in that area, and so they do need schools desperately, and our board is working hard to secure the funding to get those facilities built.
One of the best ways to get to know a person is to talk to them face to face, to really look into their eyes as they tell you their story. After the break, I'll tell you about a new art exhibit that invites everyday Utahns to look into the eyes of our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We are seeing good speeds on I-15 in Weber County, but we still have a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 in Davis County through the work zone near Burton Lane as you go from Kaysville to Farmington. A surface street crash, it's in the process of being cleared eastbound 12th Street at Washington Boulevard in Ogden, and that also had some debris in the area. Again, they're sweeping it up. It should be gone in a matter of minutes. From system install to fast fixes to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
What are you willing to settle for? I mean, are you willing to settle for being overweight? I'm asking this question because I have friends who have told me it's just too hard to lose weight. And what I said to them is what I'm going to say to you is that Salt Lake City Fat Loss took the frustration out of losing weight for me because I thought, oh my gosh, I have to work out for more than an hour a day to take off a few pounds. Well, with this great program, I haven't had to do that. I've lost 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. It's an all-natural program. There are no injections or surgeries. I don't have to worry about any sort of side effects. It's just a simple combination of foods that burn off that stored belly fat. And it's easy to follow with great resources that help keep you accountable. They have a great app that gives you daily ideas of how to be successful, and it even helps you as you move into maintenance, because if you lose it all and you put it back on, it's not really worth it, right? Right now, you can save $200. Just go to slcfatloss.com to learn more, or you can call them 801-450-1882. Wouldn't it be great to lose up to a pound per day? Just go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Home sellers, do not lose money selling your home the old way. Make more money when you sell your home with a Bank Buster loan. This is Rod with the Save Right Realtor team at Realty Path. Average interest rates are in the mid to high sixes, but Save Right Realtors will market your home with a fixed rate as low as 4.75%. The ultra-low Bank Buster rate gives buyers monthly payments that are hundreds less than comparable homes. When your home is much more affordable, you get a larger pool of potential buyers who can buy your home. When buyers compare homes and see your home is hundreds less per month, you'll get a quicker offer and a higher sale price. Do not lose money selling your home the old way. Sell faster and make more money. Sell with Save Right. Sell with the Bank Buster loan. Call 801-APPROVE or visit saveright.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with the Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. There's no better way to get to know someone than to look into their eyes and hear their story. That's the goal of an exhibit at the Salt Lake City Public Library this month that humanizes homelessness in our community. The exhibit, the work of Amplify Utah, a nonprofit working to highlight inclusive journalism and storytelling in the state. Executive Director Marcy Young-Cancio joined me to describe what she calls a space for reflection, recognition, and connection.
So the exhibit is 17 larger than life-size portraits. They're about 120% human-size portraits of our unsheltered neighbors and members of the Salt Lake community. You have photos that are very much portraits that you're looking at that are slightly bigger than your human form, and there's 17 of these lined up with little stories and vignettes directly from the folks that we've talked to. So the project's called In Their Words because it's their words. There's no editorializing. There's no context to a broader story about the breakup of encampments or what the annual homelessness count in January looks like, but just truly the stories that they want to share, making that connection with this life-size portrait.
Describe for me what went into gathering these stories and putting together these vignettes.
So this was a project that was nearly 2 years in the making. About 2 years ago, Steven Speckman, who is a local photographer and my former colleague at Salt Lake Community College, and I started talking when he joined the Amplify Utah board about how we wanted to do a storytelling project with folks experiencing homelessness. And so we got together with this project, came together with a graduate student at the U to start building kind of a methodology to make sure we were doing it as ethically and humanly as possible, that we weren't coming in from like a parachute journalism way where we were just dropping in, talking to a couple of people and then bopping out and telling their story. We really wanted to make sure we were building trust, that we were doing a lot of listening. So the project took about 1.5 years of Steve and another photographer, Kelly Hanna, who worked with us on this, going out into the community and listening and making relationships and building trust. So folks felt really listened to as they documented these stories.
I've been to your website and looked at some of the faces of the people that you are talking about. Talk to me for a minute about how it's different to look into their eyes and then hear their stories.
Well, you can't dismiss the humanness of it when you are looking at a person. Just like a conversation you have with a friend, you can't ignore the humanness if you're looking at their face and into their eyes and they're sharing something important about themselves or something that helps define who they are or something that's even light that they care about. There's something about a real size picture of somebody, looking at their faces, that makes it much harder to dismiss a story.
How has this changed your perspective of those people who are homeless?
I don't know how much it's necessarily changed my perspective so much as it has really kind of highlighted the need to do more stories like this. Folks experiencing homelessness are often some of the most overlooked in our community. They come with stereotypes, they come with perceptions of what they will be and what their experiences are. And while some of those stereotypes are true, there is so much more depth to that. And I think intellectually we all know that. But it's coming together and really sitting down and having a conversation with folks that you're like, okay, your life is very different than mine, but there are a lot of parallels here. And your story is just kind of one misfortune or one wrong turn that led to a series more. And I think that it's easier for us to see that humanness and how each of us are maybe a job loss away or an illness away from maybe the life that we have not being there anymore.
Share with us one of the stories.
So I was not the photographer going out very often. We started by doing street Tai Chi with a group called Understanding Us, and Bernie and Marita Hart have led this program for a long time. And they do Tai Chi with folks experiencing homelessness outside of the library or the police station downtown. And one of our early stories, Stephen, Olivia, and I would go out and we would do Tai Chi to get to know the community and to become familiar with folks and for them to be familiar with us. And after we had gone maybe the third time and started taking some photos and talking to folks for the project, we met a young man named Benji. And Benji at the time was 28. He's 30 now. And he had spent 8 years in prison. He was now out and was looking for a place to stay. He was a military kid who kind of bopped all around the country, finally kind of settling in Utah. And in the 2 years since then, he's now found a home. He's looking for work. And the thing that kind of struck me when we spoke with him just last week is that he has this place that he's living, and he's now looking for a job. And he was offered a job like working at a bar, but the job ended at 2 a.m. and track shuts down at 1. So he had to say no to a job because transit doesn't line up. So Benji's story is this really great story where he really kept to himself. He was out, would talk to himself, and there was someone in the community who was listening. He's like, "You're saying some really great stuff. Why don't you actually say these things to another person?" He started talking to this guy, Nathan, and they became friends. And becoming friends, realizing that he didn't have to go out at this alone, was a really pivotal moment Benjamin shared with us in helping him understand that this wasn't a path he had to go at it alone. There is another really kind of heartbreaking story of a man named Joel, who is 44 years old, and Stephen took his photo and spoke with him. And Joel had a young daughter, like 7, 8 years old, who had cancer, beat cancer, got sick again, and passed away. And that was this moment for Joel that forever changed the course of his life. He couldn't work. He couldn't really function after the death of his daughter. He says that he hasn't smiled since then. And this incredible loss, and this is, I think, something that anyone who has a kid or who has a parent can understand, like how profound the loss of a child would be and how it's just kind of derailed his entire life. That was a story that I think really stuck with me, and the folks who have come to the exhibit have said that it was really powerful, because there's nothing quite like having a child that helps us understand each other, I think, better. And so his story really, I think, strikes a chord.
What do you hope that people walk away with when they come to see the exhibit?
I hope that people come to this exhibit just with an open mind to understand that there is much more to a community that they don't have much opportunity to engage with. That while some of the stories may align with their preconceived ideas of what someone who is experiencing homelessness might be, many of these stories are very different. This is not a project where we're really trying to change any minds, and we're not trying to editorialize it in any way. We are just really saying, here are members of your community whose voices are often going unheard. Listen to them. Here are their stories that they've shared with you, from their mouth to your ears, or to your eyes, because they're on this placard next to their portraits. We just are trying to connect us kind of one story at a time, because when we share our stories, one voice, one story at a time, we can build a better understanding of the world around us and hopefully build a stronger, more equitable, more connected society.
She says everyone deserves to have their story heard. The Amplify Utah exhibit on homelessness will be on display at the Salt Lake Public Library until July 20th. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Federal changes potentially affecting your pocketbook and health coverage. New university housing for students who have served in the military. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A new accident. This is southbound I-15 in the Bluffdale area at the point of the mountain. If you're on the way to Utah County, look for it over to the right shoulder. Maria?
Headed for 96 today, but that's nothing, up to 99 by Wednesday, 91 downtown. KSL's top local stories coming up in 1 minute. First, ABC News.
News. I'm Michelle Franzen. In Texas, at least 94 have died across 5 counties after catastrophic flooding. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is in Kerrville, where dozens are still missing.
Search and rescue crews have been working around the clock. They've been tagging every location that they've been to, but the debris field is huge. And at this home, someone is literally shoveling mud out of their house. And he was telling me it has never flooded this high before. He said it went halfway up to the 2nd story.
ABC News has confirmed staffing at the National Weather Service in the Austin-San Antonio office was increased ahead of the storm from 2 to 5 meteorologists, and say flood alerts went out the day before. In North Carolina, a separate system that triggered flooding is blamed for at least 1 death. President Trump says he'll raise tariffs by 25% on imports from Japan and South Korea by August 1st if trade deals are not finalized. He's also sending letters to other countries, extending the week's deadline on reciprocal tariffs to August 1st. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A Southern Utah man has been arrested after police say he crashed his UTV while driving impaired, killing the 7-year-old girl riding with him. Police documents say 32-year-old Armando Becerra was driving the girl around when he lost control and rolled. She was taken to a local fire station for her head trauma but was pronounced dead. Becerra was booked into the Kane County Jail on suspicion of automobile homicide, DUI, and reckless driving. We are learning today about a massive explosion at a Harriman strip mall that could have been a lot worse if not for the actions of a few quick-thinking bystanders. KSL TV's Brian Carlson reports that it all began Saturday night when an SUV crashed into a Domino's.
Those inside the car unable to escape, only alive today because 2 people jumped in to help.
We had 2 heroic bystanders that literally jumped in, put their own life safety at risk, and got both of these people out of the car.
Meanwhile, a worker at the Jimmy John's next door who heard the hiss of the gas told everyone there to get out and realized he should warn people inside the Domino's too.
It was soon after this that the Domino's exploded. Police are still investigating why the car lost control and crashed into the building. Other local stories KSL is following. Utah State University is partnering with a nonprofit to provide housing for student veterans. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
In August, student veterans can apply to live in a home with other vets. USU's Veteran Resource Office says they're working with the nonprofit Project Valor to start small with just 1 home for now, but they plan to expand the housing options in the future. Including in the housing is a plan to keep a bed open for any homeless student veterans. The office says sharing living spaces with other veterans is very important in helping these students. Veterans are used to doing everything with other people, so going straight back into civilian life can be lonely. Another veteran in their space might be the battle buddy they need.
Project Valor will be hosting a 5K run in October to help sponsor the project, and if they are successful, they hope to have more housing available in the future. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down by 422 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 44,406. S&P down by 49 points, and the NASDAQ down by 188 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A crash on the way to Utah County on southbound I-15 at the point of the mountain in Bluffdale. It's been moved over to the right shoulder. Earlier delays are clearing. And an accident for Weber County drivers northbound I-15 31st Street in Ogden, out of traffic on the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Don't expect any rain over the next week. The 7-day forecast shows no chance of rain and the high getting up to 99 on Wednesday. Right now, 91 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You bought a house, or maybe you're building one, but it just isn't feeling like home. Not yet. AMC Building Materials has this undeniable knack for transforming a house into a home. Your home. How do they do that? They combine years of exceptional kitchen and bath creations with your ideas. In fact, customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. You know what you want. You know it's not going to be cookie cutter. And this is exactly where AMC shines. AMC delivers exceptional quality, bold-style kitchen and bath designs, along with their exceptional value and a timeline you'll love. Most projects are complete by the elite AMC professional installers in under 10 days. Immerse yourself in the beauty, function, and feel in person at the AMC Building Materials showroom in Salt Lake City. Get directions and schedule your free estimate at amckitchenslc.org. AMC Building Materials, transforming your house into a home. amckitchenslc.org.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. President Trump continues to monitor the economic stage today. The White House confirms the president is pushing back this week's deadline for trade partners to avoid tariffs.
The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st.
The president is now sending out letters to a dozen foreign leaders informing them of the new deadline. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said more letters will be sent in the coming days.
So the reciprocal tariff rate or these new rates that will be provided in this correspondence to these foreign leaders will be going out the door within the next month, or deals will be made.
But it's not just on the international economic stage where the president is making changes. On Friday, he signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law, a massive mega bill resulting in millions of dollars in cuts, while also set to increase the national debt by trillions. On ABC News this week, Stephen Mayran, chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, said soaring growth will result in no adding to the national debt.
What the people who predict big deficits don't understand is that economic growth is going to soar in response to these policies. If you give massive incentives for investment, huge incentives for new factories, full expensing on new factories, full expensing on equipment, full expensing on R&D expenditures, that incentivizes more of this stuff. You're going to get more people investing in factories as a result of these tax benefits. More investment means more income means more tax revenue.
Also on ABC News this week, former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers said that he disagrees.
None of us can forecast what's going to happen to economic growth. What we can forecast is that when people have to hold government debt, instead of being able to invest it in new capital goods, new machinery, new buildings, that makes the economy less productive.
In addition to concerns about the national deficit, many have voiced concerns about cuts to Medicaid coverage and SNAP benefits. Utah Representative Mike Kennedy tells KSL News Radio Simone Cycli the cuts are necessary to keep the programs serving the people that they were designed to help in the first place.
I am really proud of, in this case, the Medicaid and SNAP provisions. Preserve those programs. So as you and your listeners know, SNAP is essentially food stamps, food assistance for the vulnerable, the low-income folks. And those programs have been misused over many years by certain states in this country. And there's been fraud, waste, and abuse. And this bill actually focuses on reducing fraud, waste, and abuse and right-sizing those programs to make sure that those that really need them, the programs are available. And I'll say to you and your listeners, this is really important to me, is my family has used Medicaid in the past for the delivery of my first two children, and I was on food assistance as a kid. I know how hard it can be for our people, and I want to make sure that the vulnerable have access to these programs. Medicaid, for example, was designed for pregnant women, disabled people, and the elderly, and making sure that Medicaid works for those people is vital. And when we have a bunch of 28-year-old, able-bodied, no-dependent individuals throughout the country that are on Medicaid, it challenges that system and makes it so it's unsustainable over time. So we're right-sizing that. If you are able-bodied, you have no dependents, and you need to go out and try to find a job for 20 hours a week. And I think that that's healthy policy for a program like Medicaid, and it's similar for SNAP. So we're trying to right-size these programs so the vulnerable are available. The programs are available for the vulnerable people in our country.
Those cuts to Medicaid are expected to really impact rural hospitals that rely on Medicaid reimbursements to stay afloat. Many are already in financial straits. Many have closed, and more are expected to close in the next few months, increasing the distances for many people to get to a hospital. Tyler Sherman is a registered nurse at a rural hospital in Nebraska and telling ABC News.
We rely on the Medicaid reimbursements to really fix that budget for us. And so it's going to be difficult for us to move forward. That ER call that you make in the middle of the night, that 5-minute call that you'll come here to a rural clinic, to a rural ER, is going to be 45 to 50 minutes. When you're having a heart attack, having a stroke, those minutes, those seconds, that's the difference between life and death.
Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Veterans attending Utah State University are getting help with housing. USU is partnering with the nonprofit Project Valor to provide housing for student veterans. Executive Director of the Veteran Resource Office, Andy Allen, tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis it started last year when he struggled to find housing for a homeless student veteran.
I really struggled in my ability to assist this veteran. So the way I look at my job as the Executive Director of the Veterans Resource Office is to do everything and anything in my power to help students be successful in school. And that means I may not have the resource to solve every problem, but hopefully I know somebody who has the resources to solve every problem. And so in the case of finding a veteran that's homeless and struggling, being able just to find a job, you need to have an address and a place where you're living. So last year when we encountered this homeless veteran, I just told myself I need to do more. I need to find somebody in the community that can help me solve this problem. And it's something that I have been trying to do since last year. Initially, I reached out to a businessman, a friend of mine, Nathan Rubin, and he's just a superstar in the community who's always trying to help people in need. And I reached out to him, and that's where it started initially, was my discussions with him. He owned a house with a number of bedrooms that were currently being occupied, but we talked about a long-term plan where we could get veterans into that home. And then I was fortunate enough to meet Michael Fortune, who is the interim CEO of USA Project Valor. And once I met him, everything just took off. He has been trying to get housing for veterans in the state of Utah, and his focus right now happens to be Cache Valley, and he has the expertise that I lack. This isn't my area of expertise, is finding housing or establishing housing for homeless veterans, but he has that expertise, and he has been able to do what I was unable to do. He has the connections, corporate sponsors, and it just has really gotten some legs under it since USA Project Valor got involved. I'm just so fortunate. Utah State University is just so fortunate to have somebody like him willing to partner with us.
In August, student veterans can apply to live in a home with other vets. USU's Veteran Resource Office says that they're working with this nonprofit Project Valor to start small with just one home for now, but they plan to expand the housing options in the future. Now, Allen says he understands all too well the challenges facing students who are veterans.
I'm a veteran myself. I served for 26 years. The difference between me getting out of the military is I had a family. I had a wife and children, and so I didn't go through the loneliness factor as much as a young single veteran who gets out of the military, having been surrounded by a team of military soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marine Coast Guardsmen, being surrounded by them on a daily basis. I mean, they train together, they work together, they deploy together, they eat together, they sleep in the barracks together. Everything that they do is mostly together. That's how the military thrives, is by building strong teams where one another has each other's backs. And then they find themselves getting out of the military, and not only does the level of responsibility that they carried in the military diminish, but now they find themselves alone. And whether they admit to it or not, many of our young single veterans who have served from anywhere from 2 to 8 years or 10 years, they find themselves trying to navigate education without a battle buddy, without somebody to turn to. And that is a stark contrast to the way things were when they were in the military. And it's a struggle for some. Not for all, but it's a struggle for some. And we want to be able to help with that struggle. We want to be able to help them have veterans housing where they have teammates, where they have fellow students, where they have fellow veterans who have shared interests and commonalities and backgrounds so that they can find themselves not having to face the obstacle of loneliness while they're facing the obstacle of getting their degree at Utah State University.
Project Valor will be hosting a 5K run in October to help sponsor the project, and if they are successful, they hope to have more housing available in the future. After the break, we'll get a preview of the upcoming Ogden Pioneer Days. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A small accident in Weber County. This is at 31st Street and the I-15 junction. You'll see that the vehicles are out of traffic on the shoulder. Discover the art of adventure in Cedar City, the gateway to parks, plays, high-elevation recreation, ATV and downhill trails, chairlift rides, topped off with unique shops and savory bites. Plan a visit at cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there, there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. From saddle bronc athlete to country music, Chancey Williams comes from Wyoming and will be here in Utah soon, headlining a show at the Ogden Rodeo on the 18th. Now, I spoke to him about his journey and what his songs mean to both him and his fans.
Thought she was gonna leave me face down in Broken Heartsville.
Yeah, start out for me. I understand that you are going to be performing here in Utah soon.
Yep, we're coming to Ogden in a couple weeks for the rodeo. So we're always excited to come over to Utah. It's one of our favorite places to play over there. We got a lot of good friends and fans over there.
Your music is described as being a signature neo-traditional country. Describe for those people who haven't heard your music what that means.
Well, I guess you know our sound. I grew up as a ranch kid and a rodeo cowboy, so we kind of sing songs and content about stuff that you would hear back in the 90s, but it kind of sounds newer 90s type stuff. So we're not necessarily traditional country, but it's not new country. It's kind of right in the middle there.
Okay. So what is your most inspirational song that people would really relate to?
Well, it's hard to pick. I got 6 albums out and a 7th on the way. But, like I said, I grew up on a ranch in the northeast corner of Wyoming. So when I started doing music, I kind of sing songs that hit home and relate to people of the West. So I sing songs about ranching and rodeo and the Western way of life. But, I got a few songs out there that relate to people of the West. So, I got one that's been great for us called The World Needs More Cowboys.
'Cause the world needs more cowboys. A few more people who ain't afraid to make noise and stand up.
Has been really good for us, and some of these new ones we're putting out are doing great. So it's hard to pinpoint just one, but we, like I said, got 6 albums out there.
You started as a saddle bronc athlete. Tell me about that journey from athlete to singer.
Yeah, so growing up, we were ranch kids, and my dad rodeoed. He rode saddle broncs too, so me and my brothers, wanted to follow in those footsteps. So, the main thing growing up was rodeo. I went to college, to Casper College, the University of Wyoming, on a saddle bronc riding scholarship, and rodeoed out of college. But, out of high school, kind of had a band too for fun. But, it was always on the back burner. Rodeo was always the main thing we were doing. But then it kind of got to the point out of college that we were starting to, I was starting to sing more than I was going rodeoing, and decided I would kind of pick one. It was the life of a rodeo cowboy and the life of a singer are a lot similar. They're always typically on weekends and stuff. So I kind of had to make a decision to do one or the other if I wanted to make it a career and be successful. So I chose music.
And both similar too, and you probably have to travel a lot, right?
Yeah, it's the same travel schedule, and I was doing both for a while, and it was really hard to shuffle. I didn't feel like I was riding bucking horses as well as I should have been, and probably not taking music as serious as I should be either. So I figured I could sing a lot longer than I could ride bucking horses. So I chose the path of music.
I've got some miles on me, hands, the time of it's these lines on me.
I'm looking at a quote from People magazine that says that you always want to stay true to your roots in music, and maybe explain what that means.
Well, I just think, forever in music, and especially this day and age, I think people want to see real authentic stuff. I mean, there's so much content that gets put out, on the internet and in songs and in country music, and I think fans can see right through if you're not real, so I try to sing about real things and real life experiences. I kind of stay in my lane when it comes to songwriting and content and songs I record that, I think my fans know me well enough that if I cut something that I wasn't honest or authentic about, they'd call me out in a heartbeat, because I'm just a ranch kid from Moorcroft, Wyoming. So I just try to, I think fans really appreciate true authenticity, and I think sometimes that gets lost, with everybody chasing what's hot on radio or whatnot. And I just, if something of ours works for radio, we're sure excited about that. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. We sing songs for our fans that show up to shows and enjoy the live performances.
So tell us about your latest album. So for those people who are familiar with you, they probably want to hear about your latest stuff. So One of These Days, tell us about that.
Yeah, One of These Days has actually been out about a year and a half, I think, or maybe even 2 years. But we've put out since then 7 singles. The way people release music now, you never really know what's right or wrong. So we just released a bunch of singles over the last year, and we're going to package those this fall with some new ones and have a full new album. But the new single's been doing well. We got one out right now. It's been out for about 2 weeks, called Pearl Snap Preacher.
He's up on Sunday morning, tucks his shirt in old blue jeans. His neighbors head to service, but that ain't his routine.
It's just been doing really great. And, a friend of mine actually from Utah named Cody Robbins was one of the writers on it. And it's just a song that, kind of tells, everybody kind of goes to church in different ways. Some people go to church, some people don't go to church and pray, maybe out on a fence line or out moving cows, and that's what this song's about. It's just you can be a pearl snap preacher and believe in God in different ways. So this one's been doing really good. People have been loving it. It's been our best 2 weeks of a release so far for a streaming song.
Okay, for those folks who are going to head up and see you at Ogden Pioneer Stadium on July 18th, what can they expect to see?
Well, we're sure excited to play that one. So we've been working with Rick Davis for a few years, who puts the rodeo on there in Ogden, and he just said it's one of the best rodeos around, and it's, sold out every night. And he was trying to find a way to have a concert, and there's really no place to put a stage. So they figured out this year we're going to play right in the arena after they're going to chop the arena down. So, they can expect a high-energy show and want people leaving wanting more. So it's we got a lot of fans out there and hope to get a bunch of new ones.
And you can find tickets at OgdenPioneerDays.com. Thanks for joining me today for Midday. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at